I have probably sharpened a couple of hundred knives. And I've tried various methods of sharpening. I originally started off sharpening my handmade knives, my custom knives, on a sharpening stone, which I've had a lot of years of experience on sharpening stones. I've gotten to the point where I'm really good at getting an excellent edge on a sharpening stone, but it is very, very time consuming. And there's a huge difference between a cheap Harbor Freight stone and a really good whetstone or oil stone. And I'll tell you right now, if you've got nothing but time on your hands and you don't mind spending the time on a sharpening stone, don't buy a cheap one. Buy an expensive one. I have in the past included links for a Norton oil stone, which I use Norton. That's my favorite stone. I use it all the time. This is what it looks like. In the interest of time, though, I started using the Lansky system about 3 years ago. Somebody gave me another type of sharpening system, and it works great. The drawback is the replacement stones are very, very expensive, and you go through a lot of stones. This system, the replacement stones, are $8, $9, $10. And after all this time now, I finally figured out. Now I'm talking about taking a knife from no edge at all, never having like this. There's no edge started, there's no profile started. It's completely a brand new knife, and the very last thing I do is put an edge on it, and I start from basically a square blade. So what I do now, this Lansky system is what I've settled on. It's a little more time consuming than the Edge Pro. I don't know about the water stones. I looked into them, and I'm not going to spend the money. I'm happy with this. I get good results with this. And, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But what I do now is I've got my course to start my edge, to start my initial bevel. I use the diamond stone. I start it with this diamond stone. This is coarse. And then once I establish my initial angle of the bevel, which is 25 degrees, then I go and I start using my I don't use the black one because it's just, if you start with the diamond, you don't need to use this. So I start with, I got that mixed up. I start with the coarse, and then I start my way up to ultra fine. And I get a pretty good edge. There's been one or two knives I did not get a good edge on just because, I think I get sidetracked sometimes and I forget which knife I did what to. And if I have several that I'm processing at the same time, that's another thing I've since learned to just narrow down. Like if I have 6 knife orders, don't process 6 at a time. I'm good for about 3 knives at a time now before I just completely lose my train of thought about what I was doing to, each knife. And I think that's how 1 or 2 got through and shipped without an edge. So anyway, I just thought I'd tell you about the Lansky, and this is I would not use the Lansky system without this. This is the pedestal. This comes with it. This comes with the Lansky system. But without this pedestal, I would think it's useless because then you're supposed to hold this by hand, and it doesn't work. And the drawbacks, let's see. I can't think of any drawbacks, to tell you the truth. I do know a drawback. Here's the only thing that I do not like about the Lansky sharpening system. you can cut your fingers really. You know, these are small, and if you're a person with medium to large size hands, you end up only using 1 or 2 inches of this. And then, if you slip off, that there will nick your freaking blade, and all the hard work you put into sanding and polishing ends up with a nick on it. And since there's so very little of this that you can actually use to keep your fingers away from the sharp edge, you know, and you can't turn it around, if they were to make this a little bit bigger for an adult-sized hand and about 1.25 inches longer, I would have absolutely no complaints, and I'd be willing to pay more for it because it would actually last longer and be more useful. And it's a shame. I'm sure there's a way you could get this away from this, turn it around and glue it back on, and then use the part that you can't access, because you can't use the middle of it because your finger is just holding on to this stupid thing. You know, number one, it's way too skinny for a full-size hand to grab a hold of, and it's way too short this way. So Lansky, this is a great system, but you really need to add more length and make this a little fatter for a grown man to grab a hold of. All right, I just wanted to tell you what I thought about the Lansky system. I've tried a couple of other methods, and this is the way that I have decided is best for me. Thanks for watching. One more thing. I will leave an Amazon link to this Lansky system, and I'll leave an Amazon link to that Norton Stone. Norton Stone, I can't remember. It's less than $20, or right around $20. And this is, for the kit, it's around $60. And then the pedestal, God, it's probably another $15 or so. I'll leave a link to that too. Okay, now I'm done. Thanks for watching.